Welcome to Dyspraxic Rosie Writes, a channel where we talk about dyspraxia, chronic illness, and the writing life. I am here today to talk to you about a very non-sexy but very relevant topic that I have really not seen on YouTube all that much, but I see these questions in social media groups oriented around neurodivergence basically all the time, and that is own anxiety. The thing about that is that most people don't believe I have it. I have phone anxiety. I have such huge problems with getting on the phone, and many things that would seem very simple and straightforward and everyday for a lot of people in terms of going and calling your bank or telling the delivery guy where to go or getting on a client call. Even if I seem confident on the outside, I always have this extremely high level of social anxiety that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm going to lead them in the wrong direction, that I'm going to say the wrong thing. But a big part of why I seem confident on the outside when I deal with these interactions is I have developed some very useful coping strategies to make it work. In many cases, whenever I can, especially when it's an important thing, especially when it's a professional thing, especially when it's something like media or a speaking gig or a new client that is very, very, very eager to learn more, I am a big over-preparer. I don't know if you can see this here, but I am a big note taker, and my spouse has absolutely figured that out. Whenever I have an appointment I have to go to, whenever I have a customer service interaction I have to do to accomplish something very essential and everyday, like getting a bank card or buying something that's important, I am always endlessly writing things down because I am very likely to get overexcited or anxious easily and easily forget things and then walk out of there and be like, oh no, I forgot the thing. I forgot to say the essential thing that I need in order to get what I need. And I think that over preparation thing is very important. If it's a new client, that over preparation thing happens in the form of researching who this person is, looking at their social media, looking at what they're interested in, looking at emails and interactions I have had with them so far and seeing what they're actually talking about and what they actually need. And really doing my diligent research ahead of time in order to figure out exactly who they are. I think that's really something that has helped me go very far as a freelancer, that over preparation, that practicing a little bit more than I need, or I think I need, in order to get exactly where I need to get in order to feel confident, to feel like I have the point or the thought fleshed out. And you could be like me and you could have the notebooks, or it could be like a note on your phone or a voice recording that you have in order to show to somebody who can help you with whatever you're there for. And that can really get you so far, because if you have phone anxiety like I do, if you get that sort of like over anxious feeling when you are in that environment, then the only way you can push through it anyways is acknowledge it's a thing and have the main points written out that you need in order to be a self-sufficient advocate for yourself and articulate exactly what's going on, and then go from there on how that person can help you. Although when it's something like customer service, you really need to do this over preparation in the form of looking up ahead of time what process is involved in order to go through this process and what they require and what their language is for the exact thing that you need. However, I mean, especially nowadays with like modern technology, you may even be able to find a workaround. You may even be able to do this as an email or a social media interaction or a text message instead of going through all these initial stages that are a trigger for your anxiety. If it's something like a client relationship, however, that sense of honesty is very important. You know, it's really not such a bad thing to admit you're nervous. At first, no, I mean, it shows you care, but as long as you do that research and that preparation ahead of time, and you're an honest human being about being a little bit nervous, that is the most human instinct to experience if you really, really, truly care. Take that moment before you talk to that person to take a deep breath, to write out the main points of what you need. If it's something like a speaking engagement or a media engagement, see what you can prepare in order to write out your points articulately. Have all your key points and notes. If it's something like a speaking engagement, have your slides way ahead of time. Time your presentation so that you know exactly how this is going to take and you face no unexpected pressure around timing. And if it's a speaking engagement that's more along the lines of media, so like something like a podcast or a YouTube channel, the refreshing thing, unless it's live, is that people can always edit things that seem like a goof and something you didn't want to include. Although if it's live, I mean, humor is always a great tool. If you're the person hearing this, however, and you are providing that phone call or that meeting or whatever, I do have a few points for you as well, for what you can do to support people like me who feel that sort of strong sense of social anxiety about getting on the phone. Really plan it really far in advance and be really patient about it. And don't use it as a reason to judge people. Instead, like, remind them of why they were the ones you really wanted to talk to. And if they're really nervous, see if there's some way you can fit in a break and a breath for them to take a moment and think on exactly what they want to talk to you about. But overall, I mean, I am very much of the opinion that not everything has to be a phone call. I mean, maybe this could be an email interaction, or maybe you could be talking back and forth in voice memos, or something like that. Just really like take a moment to ask people what communication methods are the most comfortable for them in order to make sure that you're building a strong relationship with people in an equitable way. I hope you found this helpful. This was one I really spontaneously came up with after a customer service interaction. I won't bore you with the details over the phone that I found particularly difficult. And it wasn't necessarily about the circumstances of it, but something about having to get on the phone and provide all these bits of information that were so important to get right was a real anxiety trigger for me. And I just wanted to take a moment to get the message across that there are other ways that all this can be done through a bit of patience and a bit of flexibility to approaching communication in a way that's mutually compromised for people, in a way that makes them feel comfortable. Above all else, don't do it as a spontaneous thing. Do it as something that people can plan in advance, really take a moment to think. And when in doubt, definitely send questions ahead of time in order to give people like me who get that anxiety the chance to think on exactly what your main points are and what that means for what they're going to say. And happy reading, happy writing, my friends.